There is a growing sense and even increasing talk that our real estate market may have reached its peak. I mean, after all, we all know what goes up must come down, right? And now, for the first time in 4 years, mortgage rates are back up over 4%. So, what exactly does that mean for our real estate market going forward in 2022 if you are planning on buying or selling a home? Hi, this is Andrew with the S2 real estate team of eXp Realty. And, to be honest with you, the funny thing about this is talk of a market correction or a bubble or things changing are not new. They've been around for a while, and that chatter has increased ever since the pandemic. Many people believed or assumed that the pandemic was going to cause the housing market to turn down, and it didn't. The pandemic actually caused the housing market to accelerate and take off, which is what we've been experiencing for pretty much the past couple of years. But even with that said, there's a growing sense that this can't continue. And I agree 100%. You cannot keep having 20% plus price appreciation every single year. It doesn't make sense. It makes homes increasingly unattainable for a lot of people, especially first time home buyers. They're the ones having the biggest challenge right now in trying to compete with bidding wars and multiple offer situations. So, considering all of this, where are we at? When's it likely going to change? And the funny thing is, when a change or a shift in the market happens, it can happen on a dime, to be honest with you. It can happen relatively quickly. And it's usually an event or something else that happens that is kind of like the tipping point. Now, I do want to preface by saying, yes, I do believe that the pace of appreciation that we have been experiencing, we're nearing an end to that type of appreciation. Have prices peaked continue or have prices peaked, to the point that they're going to turn the other way? I'm not sure. And I don't think anyone else is exactly. I mean, everyone's got their own opinions on that. But what I can tell you is that there are still some fundamental economic rules at play here. And I do think the pace of appreciation is going to come down. So let's take a look at that a little bit. What we're seeing, especially here, I'm based in Frisco, Texas right now. And in the markets that we cover in North Texas, Arizona, Phoenix, and the Southern California market, we're seeing very similar things in all three of those markets currently. And it really starts with buyers. Buyers get to the point where enough's enough, right? Prices have gone up too much. We're not doing it, right? If that means we need to wait another year or two, then that's what we'll do. We'll wait another year or two and see how things play out, because you get the idea or the sense that this just can't continue. It's not normal, right? Now, from the flip side, we have an awful lot of pent up seller demand in the market right now. And we don't talk about pent up seller demand very often. We usually talk about it from the buyer standpoint. And that's because a lot of people that had been planning on selling their home over the last few years haven't. Then the pandemic hit, and then no one wanted to put their home up for sale. And that helped create the supply problem that we've been experiencing. Now, as we've moved out of the worst of the pandemic, hopefully, you've got a lot of sellers that wanted to make a move, would still like to make a move, and are now kind of stuck. They're in that position of, well, if I sell, where do I go? Because there's nothing really there to buy. There's not a whole lot available. But you are going to get those sellers that say, I don't know. I mean, look how much equity we've gained. Prices have gone up. It's time that we do something. And they'll start to put their homes up for sale. We're already seeing it. Here in Frisco, just 3 weeks ago, we had 43 active listings, 43 in the entire city. Okay, as of today, there's 117. Okay, nothing earth shattering when you consider 3 years ago there were 900, right? But inventory always picks up in the spring. How high is it going to get this year? We'll have to wait and see. One of my neighbor's homes recently went up for sale. Okay? And although activity was busy and although it did receive multiple offers, there weren't quite as many people out looking as I would have seen a month ago, 2 months ago. There's just little signs that things might be shifting a little bit. I'm getting a few more emails from builders, especially that have communities in outlying areas where it's like, hey, we've got some homes available that aren't under contract that are going to be done in the next couple of months. So we're starting to see a few of those signs. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to get somebody decide that, okay, now's the time I'm going to sell. And then they're going to put their home up for sale. And then somebody else is going to put their home up for sale. And that inventory is going to start increasing, especially as new home communities come online. And there's a lot of that here in Frisco and Prosper. But at the same point in time, I want you to realize that over the last decade, approximately 8 million homes have been taken out of the supply due to the fact that the people that owned them didn't sell them when they moved. Interest rates, mortgage rates have been so low that it made more sense to pull some money out, keep that property as a rental, and buy something new. And therefore, they added to their real estate portfolio. As mortgage rates start to move up, that doesn't become quite as appealing to quite as many people. I'm not saying it still won't happen, it absolutely will, but you'll start to see that level off a little bit, also adding to supply. And then you're going to reach the point where the buyers, you're suddenly not getting 15 offers. You might be getting 4, right? Then all of a sudden it's 3. All of a sudden your house didn't sell over the weekend. So it's like, now what? And you suddenly find, before you know it, the market shifted a little bit. And that's what we're going to see. Do I think it's going to be cataclysmic and we're going to see a big dip in prices? No. I still am of the belief that prices are going to continue to appreciate this year in the vast majority of markets. And it is due to supply and demand. There's still an incredible amount of supply. I'm sorry, there's still an incredible amount of demand in the face of limited supply. Now, mortgage rates, right? As I just mentioned, mortgage rates are going up. What's that going to do? That surely is going to cause home prices to settle down. Let's go back to the beginning of the video here. I talked about the pace of appreciation slowing, coming down from where it was. If we go back all the way into the early 90s and we look at rising mortgage rate environments, anytime we had a period where the mortgage rate increased more than 1%, home prices still increased year over year. Okay, they still increased year over year. A rise in mortgage rates didn't necessarily cause home prices to go down. Will it lessen demand? Yes. With inflation going the way it's going, with gas prices jumping up, with everything that's going on in the world, you are going to find that buyer demand will pull back a little bit. And as buyer demand pulls back a little bit in the face of rising supply, you're going to see that the home price appreciation pace starts to come down. That's what we're going to see. Now, even though mortgage rates have moved up over 4%, we're honestly back to where we were in 2018 and 19, right? Rates were at about 4.5% on average in 2018, and they were just at about 4% for most of 2019. So we're not exactly in a high mortgage rate environment by any means, but it is enough to have buyers suddenly step back a little bit, take a breath and pause. But the bottom line is people are still moving, and depending on where you are, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, the population is still expected to grow by another 3 million by 2030. So there's still so many people moving in. There's still so much demand being created against relatively limited supply that it doesn't look as though the market here locally is going to change that much over the next few years. It will soften and it will start to come back. Some balance will come back, start to be a little bit more normal. But if you're thinking that prices are going to drop 5, 10, 15%, there is currently nothing in any data anywhere to indicate that that is even in the cards whatsoever. So again, just because mortgage rates are going up doesn't necessarily mean that home prices are coming down, right? But it does mean that the pace of appreciation should start to settle. So hopefully you find that information useful. If you have additional questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us at 469-296-5230, or you can send us an email at contact@s2realestateteam.com.